Rick Hong here for Hollywood First Look Features. We are at the red carpet for the Saturn Awards. Let's take a first look. Since 1973, the Saturn Awards honor the very best in science fiction, fantasy, and horror entertainment, and is the official award presentation of the nonprofit Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. Winners for the 45th Annual Saturn Awards honoring motion picture, television, home entertainment, and live stage productions were announced at an exciting ceremony hosted by Aisha Tyler.
This is the 45th Saturn Awards. 45 years in Hollywood, which means the Saturn Awards are considered too old for leading film roles.
At the historic Avalon Theater in Hollywood and streamed across 8 online platforms.
You know, when I was your age, I moved town once too. You'll settle in, sweetie.
Maybe.
We're gonna be happy living here.
It's my first time here, yeah. My first time. I'm here because I've been nominated for Breakthrough Director, so it's my first feature film, first occasion to be here, and it's really, really nice, really great.
Can you tell me a little bit about your film?
I can indeed. My film is called The Hole in the Ground. It's a psychological horror movie about a young single mother who moves to the countryside in Ireland with her 8-year-old boy, kind of escaping this darker past. And when she's there, they discover this really enormous sinkhole in the earth near their house. And after that discovery, she starts to notice these strange little subtle behaviours in her son's, kind of these changes in his behaviour and his attitude. And she starts to question whether or not she's losing her mind or if this sinkhole has had some impact on who he is. It's very much character-driven, psychological horror, very contained, a very tight, singular POV about this one woman that's worried she's losing her mind, but also might be facing monstrous forces beyond her control.
Welcome to Earth 1. Oh, great. Another angry one. I have to prepare the team for this crisis.
I always say to folks, you know, there's the Oscars, there's the Emmys, the Saturn Awards. From the point where I was, I think, 10 or 11 years old, when I first found out there were awards for science fiction, fantasy, and horror films, this is my jam. This is the greatest honor possible.
Of the 3, was there one when you were growing up you gravitated towards more? Was it science fiction, fantasy, or horror? For me, like, I love science fiction, so...
I always gravitated to horror the most. I think because horror combines intensity, but also with comedy. Because there's always, when a monster jumps out, you always have to have the moment of comedic relief to relieve the tension of the suspense and the horror. So I kind of like the balance that you get from the horror genre quite a bit.
Wait, and then you're here for The Flash tonight, right? Yeah. So I know that Infinite of Crisis Earth is coming. I know you can't tell me too much, but I mean, how is it prepping for those crossover shows every year?
It's really intense, but also really rewarding because all 5 shows this year have to work together to create this once-in-a-lifetime television event. And there really hasn't been anything this big before done anywhere. I mean, we've got every DC superhero imaginable. The Flash, Supergirl, not just Arrow and all of the legends, but Superman and all of the guest stars, no spoilers here, but all of the guest stars from Crisis who may or may not be cropping up.
If you have any hope of saving your family, you will help me.
You go get our kids, and you get them off this planet.
So, well, I think you've done some growing, right, since season 1?
Oh, it's only been like 10 inches.
Yeah, right? So I'm sure, right, when people meet you now, they're like, oh, you're a little bit taller than I expected.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of the time people don't recognize me because of how different I look, but right. Once you tell them, like, oh, okay, I pictured you being like 4'8" and kind of kiddish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight you're here. This has got to be your first Saturn Awards because of Lost in Space, so you're presenting. So what does that feel?
You know, I'm super honored. I'm nominated with really talented people, really seasoned professionals, and I couldn't be more grateful.
So how was learning about the mythology of Lost in Space? Did you have to go and reference the TV show, maybe go watch the New Line movie, or did they tell you to just stay away from it?
Yeah, I mean, of course I wanted to watch the original because at heart, Lost in Space is about a family. No matter what goes on with, you know, in the original Crazy Vegetable People or in the new one.
Yes.
You know,
it's campy. It was very campy, yes.
Yeah. In our new one with giant crazy 4-armed robots, it's all about a family in the center and the heart of it. Also, I got to become great friends with the original Will Robinson, Bill Mumy.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you, like, who's your favorite Will Robinson? Is it Bill Mumy or is it Max Jenkins?
Oh, Bill Mumy for sure. Bill Mumy. He is the original and will always be the best, in my opinion.
You don't believe in the boogeyman?
He's here! Michael!
You should.
You know what? I have had a really creative life that I never thought I'd have, all because of this genre, and therefore I am grateful beyond measure.
Everybody loved the fact that you returned to Halloween. Was it easy for you to slip back into Laurie Strode, or did you have to be like, I've got to kind of remember her a little bit?
No, Laurie Strode will always be the closest character I will ever play will be Laurie, because she was my first, and it was deep, and it had gravitas, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and and it was my first. So in that other way of like your first being good, it was amazing.
Okay, well then, just really quick, Halloween. What do you dress up as, or do you have an idea to be something for Halloween this year?
You know what? My kids are grown. We used to do like a full-on thing, hung people from trees and stuff. Skeletons and pirates, and I mean, we used to do it up. I have been Morticia a couple times. My daughter and I did a very successful Morticia and Wednesday once. And most of the time I just don't need to do anything because I'm me.
Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Rick Hong. You've been watching Hollywood First Look Features.